What if everything you know about reality is a lie? From quantum glitches in your brain, to NASA's buried experiments, and to the forbidden science that could delete existence itself, this channel isn't just about theories, it's about hacking the code of reality. We've exposed how your dreams might be data leaks from parallel worlds, how governments censored truths that could rewrite history, and why CERN's experiments found a glitch in the simulation. But here's the twist. You're part of this story. Every subscribe, every share fuels this mission to crack the universe's best-kept secrets. So if this video bends your mind, make you question everything, or just terrify you in the best way, hit subscribe. Because the deeper we go, the stranger it gets. And I can't do this without you. Smash that bell so you never miss an upload. Share this with someone who needs to wake up. Together, let's pull back the curtain. Before the curtain pulls back on us, how quantum tunneling proves reality has cheat codes. You're staring at a concrete wall, convinced it's impenetrable, a symbol of every obstacle you've ever faced. But what if walls, limits, and even the laws of physics aren't as absolute as they seem? In 1927, scientists watched electrons vanish from one side of a barrier and reappear on the other, defying logic. This wasn't magic. It was quantum tunneling, a phenomenon so bizarre it suggests the universe has built-in loopholes. We're taught that effort, force, and energy are the only ways to overcome resistance. But tunneling particles laugh at these rules, bypassing barriers as if reality itself handed them a backstage pass. What if the cosmos isn't a rigid system, but a game with hidden cheat codes, and we're just starting to learn how to play? Quantum tunneling reveals a universe governed by probability, not certainty. Particles don't tunnel like miners digging through rock. Instead, they exploit the fuzzy math of quantum mechanics, existing as waves of potential until observed. Imagine rolling a boulder up a hill, only for it to teleport to the peak 1% of the time, defying gravity. This isn't theoretical. It's how stars fuse hydrogen into helium, how your smartphone's microchips function, and how enzymes in your body trigger life-saving chemical reactions. Without tunneling, the sun would go dark, and DNA repair would fail. Yet the implications stretch far beyond physics labs. If particles can bypass physical limits, could consciousness, or even reality itself, have similar loopholes? Philosophers once dismissed such ideas as mysticism, but quantum biology now asks, are intuition, creativity, and sudden breakthroughs just human-scale tunneling? Moments where the mind slips through the cracks of linear logic? Let's run a thought experiment. Picture yourself trapped in a room with no doors or windows. Classical logic says you're stuck. But quantum logic whispers that if you exist as a wave of possibilities, there's always a chance, however small, of flickering into the hallway. Now scale this up. Every time you've defied the odds, survived a disaster against all logic, or stumbled onto an idea that shouldn't work, were you tapping into reality's cheat codes? The catch. Tunneling isn't magic, it's probabilistic. For every particle that slips through, countless others fail. Yet nature relies on these rare successes. Stars shine because a tiny fraction of hydrogen nuclei tunnel through their mutual repulsion. DNA mutates because protons occasionally tunnel between strands, driving evolution. Technology leaps forward because engineers exploit tunneling in flash memory and microscopes. Persistence, it seems, isn't just human grit. It's woven into the fabric of reality. But here's the contradiction. If tunneling is natural, why does it feel supernatural? Why do we dismiss coincidences as luck when they might be quantum ripples in our macro world? The answer lies in scale. For a single particle, tunneling happens constantly. But for larger objects, like humans, the odds vanish into statistical noise. You'll never walk through a wall because the probability of all your atoms tunneling in sync is effectively zero. Yet life thrives on amplifying tiny probabilities. A single enzyme can tunnel 1,000,000 times per second, turning impossible reactions into inevitabilities. What if human innovation, art, AI, space travel, is just evolution's way of scaling these quantum hacks? We're biological machines built to exploit statistical edges, turning cosmic loopholes into tools. But this raises an ethical dilemma. If we engineer systems to harness tunneling, could we cure diseases by rewriting cellular machinery, or create unstoppable quantum weapons? And who decides when a cheat code becomes a crime? The real shock isn't that particles tunnel. It's that we still label reality fixed. We cling to Newtonian metaphors, ladders to climb, walls to smash, while the universe whispers, there's another way. Tunneling suggests that limits are illusions, that impossibility is a spectrum, not a binary. But this revelation terrifies us. Accepting it means admitting that failure isn't fate. It's a statistical inevitability waiting to be outmaneuvered. It means redefining possible as probable under the right conditions. Consider the inventor whose 99 failed prototypes paved the way for the 100th breakthrough, or the patient who survives a 1% survival rate diagnosis. Are these outliers, or quantum thinkers who refuse to accept classical limits? So the next time you face an uncrackable problem, ask, am I a particle trapped by classical thinking, or a wave of possibilities? The answer might rewrite your reality, but tunneling is just the beginning. What happens when we realize entanglement binds every particle in the cosmos, suggesting that individuality itself is a lie, that the cheat codes aren't hidden, they're etched into the blueprint of existence? The double-slit experiment's creepy secret. Reality watches you. You flip a light switch and the bulb flickers, or does it flicker because you looked? Imagine a world where reality reshapes itself the moment you turn away, where particles act like shy performers changing their act when the audience arrives. This isn't dystopian fiction. It's the unnerving truth buried in quantum mechanics' most infamous experiment. In 1701, Thomas Young shone light through two slits, proving it behaved as a wave. But when scientists repeated this with electrons centuries later, the rules shattered. Particles streaked through the slits as waves when unobserved, painting interference patterns like cosmic fingerprints. Yet the instant a detector clicked on, they snapped into orderly dots as if caught red-handed. The chilling takeaway: reality doesn't just exist, it performs, and it's always watching to see if you're watching back. The double-slit experiment exposes a paradox that gnaws at the foundation of physics. When unobserved, particles exist as probability waves, slipping through both slits simultaneously and interfering with themselves, a feat only waves can achieve. But the moment a measurement device intervenes, they collapse into discrete particles, as though embarrassed by their own duality. This observer effect isn't about human eyes magically altering matter. It's about the act of measurement forcing particles to pick a state, like a child freezing mid-mischief when a parent enters the room. Quantum theory insists particles have no definite properties until observed. But this raises a haunting question. Does reality require a conscious observer to exist, or is it the mere presence of any interaction, a camera, a sensor, even a stray atom, that forces the universe to commit? The implications bleed beyond labs. Surveillance capitalism thrives on this principle. Algorithms alter behavior simply by tracking it. Social media personas shift under the gaze of followers. But what if reality itself is the ultimate panopticon, rewriting its script under our collective scrutiny? Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine living in a house where every room rearranges itself the moment you close the door. You open the fridge, see milk on the left shelf, shut it, and reopen it. Now the milk's on the right. This is the quantum world in macro scale. Now apply this to your life. A politician's speech softens under public glare. A teenager's rebellion quiets when a parent enters. The double-slit experiment suggests reality does the same. It morphs under observation, erasing truth until pinned down. But here's the twist. What if we're the ones being watched? What if the universe isn't just reacting to us? It's judging. Ancient philosophers argued that trees falling in empty forests make no sound. Quantum mechanics replies, they don't even fall until someone checks. But here's where logic fractures. If observation defines reality, why can't we control it? Why doesn't staring at a lottery ticket force it to become a winner? The answer lies in quantum scale. For particles, observation is existential, a matter of being versus not being. But for humans, the effect drowns in statistical noise. You'll never unsee a car crash by closing your eyes. Yet electrons live in perpetual Schrödingerian limbo until measured. This creates existential whiplash. Are we just macro-scale illusions, oblivious to the quantum puppetry beneath our feet? Even creepier, what if observation isn't human-centric? A rat sniffing a lab detector, a security camera, or a leaf rustling in the wind could collapse waves into particles. Reality might not care who watches, only that something does. This erodes the line between life and inert matter, suggesting everything, rocks, rivers, galaxies, is a participant in shaping existence. The universe isn't a stage, it's a hall of mirrors, each reflection observing and altering the others. And yet, despite a century of debate, one question lingers like a ghost. If reality requires an observer, who observes the observer? Are we trapped in an infinite loop of watching and being watched? A cosmic game of peekaboo with no end? The experiment's secret isn't just that reality watches, it's that we're all both audience and actor in a play without a script. Every choice we make, every measurement we take, locks in a version of events while erasing infinite others. The politician's speech, the teenager's defiance, even the milk in your fridge, all exist as probabilities until observed. But what observes the observer? If a camera watches you, who watches the camera? The answer might lie in quantum entanglement, where particles share states instantaneously across vast distances, as if reality itself is a networked mind. Why physicists fear the quantum observer glitch? A lab technician's finger hovers over the keyboard, her screen flickering with data from an experiment finished yesterday. With a single keystroke, she deletes a file and watches the results of the past 24 hours dissolve into static. The particles she observed? They retroactively switch from behaving like discrete dots to ethereal waves. This isn't a time travel movie, it's the quantum observer glitch, a phenomenon so destabilizing that physicists avoid eye contact when discussing it. We accept that observation shapes reality, But what if it rewrites reality backward? The implications don't just defy physics, they threaten the bedrock of memory, justice, and even identity. At its core, the quantum observer glitch exposes a flaw in our understanding of time. In delayed choice experiments, particles seem to decide their past behavior based on how they're observed in the present. Imagine flipping a coin, hiding the result, and then choosing afterward whether it landed heads or tails. The quantum eraser experiment does exactly this. By erasing measurement data retroactively, scientists can alter whether a particle behaved as a wave or a particle days prior. This isn't theoretical, it's repeatable. Physicists don't fear the math, they fear what it means. If reality edits its own history to stay consistent with the present, does causality unravel? Philosophers recoil. How can free will exist if today's choices reach backward to groom yesterday's causes? Industries reliant on immutable data, cryptography, forensic science, AI, face existential vertigo. What if blockchain ledgers or courtroom evidence are quantum illusions, silently reshaped by future observations? Let's run a thought experiment. Picture a murder trial where the defendant's guilt hinges on a security camera's timestamp. But in a quantum world, the footage isn't a record, it's a probability. Until the jury reviews it, the defendant exists in a superposition, both killer and innocent. The verdict doesn't just decide their fate, it retroactively determines their past actions. Now scale this to your life. That promotion you earned last year. What if your future success reached into the past and tweaked the interviews, the late nights, the luck? The glitch bends time into a Mobius strip of cause and effect, where beginnings and endings are illusions. You didn't climb a ladder to success. You edited the ladder into existence as you climbed. But here's where the terror metastasizes. If the past is mutable, why don't we remember contradictions? Why isn't history littered with phantom events? Quantum theory's consistency conjecture offers cold comfort. Reality self-censors, tweaking memories and records to avoid paradoxes. Your childhood photo album, your diploma, even dinosaur fossils. They're not relics of the past, but artifacts of a revised past. This isn't science fiction. It's a silent, universal gaslighting. The ethical nightmare deepens when applied to AI. Imagine a machine learning model trained on historical data. If its analysis inadvertently alters the past, could it erase wars, invent technologies retroactively, or delete entire cultures from the timeline? Who controls the keys to time's edit button? Governments? Corporations? Or worse, no one? And yet, the most unsettling detail isn't the glitch itself, it's the conspiracy of silence. Physicists publish papers on retrocausality, but bury leads. Labs prioritize safe quantum research, computing, encryption, while quietly shelving observer glitch studies. Why? Because admitting reality's past is unstable doesn't just upend science, it unravels society. Courts rely on evidence. Historians rely on records. You rely on your memories. If all are quantum fictions, what anchors us? The observer glitch isn't a riddle to solve. It's a funhouse mirror reflecting our existential fragility. So the next time you revisit an old journal entry, ask, is this a memory or a revision? The quantum observer glitch forces us to confront a truth more unnerving than time travel. That reality is a draft, endlessly rewritten. But if the past isn't fixed, what about the future? What if every choice you make today branches into infinite tomorrows, each observing and retroactively justifying its own existence? The answer lies in the forbidden frontier physicists dare not touch: quantum parallel universes, where every glitch spawns a new timeline. But that's a secret too dangerous to observe. Quantum entanglement, spooky action leaking across time. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, a phrase that clung to quantum physics like a ghost story. But what if the true horror isn't the distance, but the time? Picture two particles separated by galaxies, dancing in perfect sync. Now imagine their bond isn't just qua space, it seeps through time itself. Recent experiments reveal entangled particles communicating not just across continents, but across eras, their states aligning even when one is measured after the other. The implications: reality's clock might be broken, and if particles can outrun time, what does that mean for your past, present, and future? Quantum entanglement has long baffled scientists. Measure one particle, and its twin instantly mirrors its state no matter the distance. But time-delayed experiments twist the knife. In 2012, physicists entangled particles and measured one before the other, except before and after were reversed using time-like separation. The result? The particles still matched, as if the future reached backward to whisper to the past. This retroactive entanglement suggests the phenomenon isn't bound by time's arrow. Philosophers stagger. If cause can follow effect, does free will crumble into quantum fatalism? Meanwhile, quantum engineers dream of unhackable networks where messages are secured by temporal links, and cosmologists wonder if the Big Bang left behind cosmic knots still tugging at today's universe. The stakes? Time itself might be a tapestry of entangled threads, weaving yesterday's choices with tomorrow's consequences. Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine sending a warning to your past self via entangled particles. Today, you encode "don't trust them" into a pair. Yesterday, your past self receives the message before you even wrote it. But here's the catch. The warning only becomes legible after you send it. No paradox, just a closed loop of cause and effect, a cosmic Ouroboros. Now scale this. What if every decision you make is entangled with a future version of yourself, guiding your choices like a ghostly hand? The job offer you accepted, the relationship you ended, were they your decisions or echoes of a future self manipulating the past? Entanglement leaks turn time into a negotiation, a quantum handshake between what was and what will be. But here's where the paradox bites. If entanglement defies time, why don't we see tomorrow's lottery numbers today? Why aren't stock markets rigged by future traders? The answer lies in scale. Entanglement's temporal effects are fragile, shattered by decoherence in macro objects. Yet this raises a darker question. Are human lives too chaotic to sense quantum whispers from tomorrow? Or does consciousness itself act as a filter, editing out temporal noise to preserve our illusion of linear time? Even creepier, what if déjà vu, gut instincts, or prophetic dreams are fleeting glimpses of entangled futures? The line between physics and mysticism blurs, and science flinches. Ancient oracles spoke of fate, quantum mechanics, whispers of superpositional destiny. And yet, the most unsettling truth isn't that entanglement defies time. It's that we're forced to live in its defiance. Every second, trillions of entangled particles in your body murmur to versions of themselves in the past and future, weaving a timeline that's less a straight line and more a tangled web. You think you're moving forward, But what if you're just untangling yourself from a knot that hasn't yet formed? Consider the artist struck by inspiration, the scientist haunted by a breakthrough on the edge of sleep. Could these moments be ripples from entangled futures, gently nudging the present into alignment? So the next time déjà vu chills your spine, ask, is this memory or entanglement? The universe's spooky action might stitch time itself into a patchwork of borrowed moments. But if particles can haunt the past, what about biology? What if DNA, evolution, and even aging are quantum processes entangled across millennia? Imagine your cells communicating with ancestral versions of themselves, or mitochondrial DNA holding echoes of futures yet to unfold. The answer lies in the forbidden frontier where physics meets flesh, quantum biology. And if you think this bends reality, wait until you learn how your body might be cheating time itself, rewriting its own code with every heartbeat. AI found a glitch in Einstein's relativity, sleep breakdown. A neural network, trained on decades of satellite data, pauses its analysis, then flags an anomaly buried not in starlight or cosmic radiation, but in the sleep logs of astronauts. Their body clocks, scrambled by months in zero gravity, drift out of sync with mission control's atomic timestamps. According to Einstein, time should slow imperceptibly in orbit, an effect confirmed by satellites. But the AI spotted something else. Sleep-starved minds warp time faster than relativity predicts. Einstein's equations work flawlessly in the void of space, until you add a human brain. Suddenly, time bends, not just with gravity, but with consciousness itself. Relativity hinges on a simple premise. Time is woven into the fabric of space-time, stretched by speed and mass. But Einstein assumed observers were ideal, awake, rational, detached. The AI's discovery shatters that illusion. By analyzing data from insomniacs, shift workers, and lab rats, it found that sleep deprivation accelerates subjective time dilation. To a brain denied rest, minutes stretch into hours. Deadlines loom like distant stars. The AI mapped this onto Einstein's math, revealing a missing variable: biological time. Philosophers shudder. If reality's rules depend on whether you're awake to perceive them, does the universe require a mind to hold its shape? Meanwhile, NASA recalculates Mars mission timelines. A sleepless astronaut might age days in a week, or perceive a decade in a month. Relativity, it seems, never accounted for the fragility of human perception. Imagine a prison where inmates are kept awake for weeks. To them, a minute feels like a day, a torture banned under international law. Now amplify this. Lock a sleep-deprived physicist in a lab, fire a laser beam, and ask them to measure its speed. According to relativity, light should clock in at 299,792 kilometers per second. But the physicist, trapped in a time-warped haze, might perceive it slower or faster. The AI's models predict both. Consciousness isn't a passive observer here. It's a wild card in Einstein's equations. Relativity isn't wrong. It's incomplete. Time isn't absolute, nor is it merely relative. It's negotiated, a truce between the cosmos and the crumbling minds observing it. But here's the rub. If sleepless brains bend time, why don't atomic clocks, precision instruments immune to biology, notice? The answer splits reality in two. Atomic clocks track objective time, the steady tick of the cosmos. Humans experience felt time, a fluid hallucination sculpted by neurons and fatigue. The AI's glitch suggests relativity governs the external world, but not the internal one. a schism that could derail physics' quest for a theory of everything. Even eerier, sleep might not be a biological need, but a temporal anchor, sinking us to consensus reality. Deprive a brain of rest, and it drifts into its own timeline, unmoored from the universe's clockwork. This isn't just science, it's existential vertigo. Are we all just dreaming ourselves into alignment with reality? And yet, the AI's discovery raises a question more unsettling than the glitch itself. What happens when machines, unshackled from sleep, surpass our fragile biology? Imagine an AI that never rests, perceiving time as a flat, infinite plane. Would it see relativity's flaws in an instant? Or would it, freed from human perception, uncover truths that fracture our reality? The line between observer and observed crumbles, and with it, Einstein's pristine equations. So the next time you lie awake at 3 a.m., clock ticking louder than a metronome, ask, is this time or your time? The AI's glitch forces us to confront a truth Einstein sidestepped. That reality might be a shared dream, patched together by billions of sleeping brains. But if sleep binds us to consensus, what happens when we hack it? What if dreams aren't random noise but quantum corrections, tuning our minds to the universe's hidden rhythm? The answer lies in the shadow realm, where neuroscience collides with relativity, a frontier where the next discovery might not just break physics, but break us. Your dreams might be quantum, data from other universes. You jolt awake at 3 a.m., sweat cooling on your skin, fragments of a dream slipping through your fingers like sand. A city of glass towers under a crimson sky. A stranger's laughter you somehow recognize. A life that feels achingly real until it isn't. What if these aren't just misfiring neurons? Cutting-edge quantum theories now suggest dreams might be data leaks from alternate realities. Echoes of lives you're living in parallel universes, bleeding through the cracks of space-time. Forget Freudian symbolism. Your midnight hallucinations could be quantum snapshots of roads not taken. The kicker? You're not just a person. You're a receiver, tuning into frequencies of existence where every choice branches into infinity. Quantum physics has long flirted with the multiverse, infinite realities spawned by every decision, every coin flip, every heartbeat. But how do these universes stay hidden? Enter the Orch-OR theory, a controversial idea proposing that microtubules in brain neurons vibrate at quantum frequencies, acting as antennas for multiversal data. Dreams, then, might be moments when your brain's quantum states entangle with alternate versions of you, downloading memories from timelines where you stayed in that job, married that person, or died in that accident. Philosophers stagger. If true, déjà vu isn't a glitch, but a confirmation, a fleeting overlap of realities. Meanwhile, Silicon Valley quietly funds quantum dreaming startups, hoping to mine alternate realities for cancer cures, AI breakthroughs, or hit novels. But what if nightmares aren't fears? They're warnings from universes where you didn't survive. What if creativity isn't invention, but reception? Imagine a woman who dreams of a library filled with books in a language she doesn't know. Years later, she wanders into a Kyoto bookstore and freezes. The symbols match her dream. Coincidence or a quantum echo? Now scale this. Every night, your brain becomes a cosmic cartographer, mapping realities where Rome never fell, where you're a pianist in Paris, where humanity colonized Mars. Your dreams are a VPN into the multiverse, streaming alternate lives into your subconscious. The catch: these memories evaporate at dawn, erased by your brain's classical filtering, a survival mechanism to keep you tethered to this timeline. Evolution, it seems, prefers one reality at a time. But here's the paradox. If dreams are multiversal, why do we dream of lost keys or awkward speeches? Quantum theory whispers a dark truth. Even trivial choices branch realities. That dream of tripping on stage, it happened in a universe where the humiliation sparked a career in comedy, a Netflix special, a cult following. Your brain discards the cosmic noise, leaving fragments that feel mundane. This raises an ethical abyss. If we invent tech to stabilize these quantum downloads, could we plagiarize genius from alternate selves? Or would we fracture, overwhelmed by infinite versions of grief and joy? Even darker, what if schizophrenia isn't a disorder but a sensitivity, a brain jammed between timelines, unable to mute the static? And yet, the most haunting question isn't what we dream, it's why we forget. If dreams are multiversal broadcasts, why does the brain burn the evidence? Is it mercy or censorship? Perhaps forgetting is the price of sanity in a reality where every night you die 1,000 deaths and live 1,000 more. Ancient cultures revered dreams as messages from gods. Quantum mechanics recast them as memos from use. So tonight, as you drift off, ask, is this my dream or ours? The answer might rewrite not just your story, but every story. And if you think this shatters your sense of self, wait until you learn how quantum immortality suggests death is an illusion. That somewhere, always, a version of you survives. But that's a truth too terrifying to dream. Why meditation accesses the quantum code of reality. You close your eyes, breathe deeply, and sink into stillness, until the darkness behind your eyelids fractures. A lattice of light pulses in perfect geometric harmony, its rhythm too precise, too alien to dismiss as random neural noise. Ancient mystics called these visions glimpses of the divine. Modern quantum theorists propose something wilder. Meditation isn't just relaxation, it's debugging reality's source code. Studies now suggest that the brain, in deep meditative states, syncs with the probabilistic framework of the universe, accessing what physicists call the quantum code. The hidden rules stitching existence together. The implications. Your mind isn't just observing reality, it's renegotiating it. At the core of this idea lies a collision of neuroscience and quantum theory. When meditators achieve theta wave coherence, a state of synchronized brain activity, their neural oscillations mirror quantum coherence in microtubules, tiny structures within neurons theorized to process information at the subatomic level. The controversial OR hypothesis argues these microtubules act as quantum computers, and meditation might optimize their function, aligning the brain with reality's probabilistic underlayer. Philosophers stagger. If focused intention, like meditation, can collapse quantum probabilities, could a monk's mind literally bend the physical world? Labs are already testing this. In one study, seasoned meditators influenced quantum random number generators at rates beyond chance, a statistical whisper of mind over matter. Meanwhile, tech moguls fund quantum mindfulness apps, and the US military explores meditation for enhancing intuitive decision-making. But the radical truth? Meditation might not alter reality. It reveals its unfinished edges, like a developer peeking at a game's raw code. Imagine a cancer patient visualizing their tumor dissolving during meditation, only to later discover it's shrunk inexplicably. Now amplify this. What if their focused mind entangled with the quantum states of their cells, nudging probabilities toward healing? Placebo effects and spontaneous remissions hint at this potential, a grey zone where mind and matter negotiate outcomes. Scale it further. A monk meditating on peace in a war zone might subtly alter the quantum field of their surroundings, reducing aggression through an undiscovered resonance. Far-fetched, perhaps, but if observing a particle collapses its state, why not intentional observation amplified by theta wave coherence? Meditation could be less about Zen and more about access privileges to reality's back-end. But here's the paradox. If meditation taps the quantum code, why can't every practitioner walk through walls or manifest gold? The answer lies in decoherence. The brain's biochemical noise usually drowns out quantum effects. Meditation, like a noise-cancelling algorithm, might suppress this chaos, allowing fragile quantum states to persist. Yet this raises dystopian questions. Could corporations patent quantum mindfulness to manipulate stock markets? Could dictators weaponize collective meditation to erase dissent? Even darker, what if schizophrenia isn't a mental illness but a quantum glitch, where the brain fails to filter overlapping realities? Suddenly, psychiatry isn't just about neurotransmitters. It's about multiversal interference. And yet, the most unsettling question isn't how meditation works. It's who wrote the code. If reality is programmable, who's the programmer? Ancient Vedantic texts point to a universal consciousness. Quantum physicists suggest a self-organizing cosmos. But what if the truth is simpler? That we're all coders, and meditation is the cheat code to rewrite the simulation. Imagine a world where schools teach children to debug their reality through breathwork, where therapists troubleshoot traumatic memories by resetting quantum states. The potential is limitless and terrifying. So the next time you sit in silence, ask, am I meditating or reprogramming? The line between mind and matrix blurs, and the universe whispers back in quantum syntax. But if consciousness shapes the code, what happens when AI learns to meditate? Could machines hack reality faster, deeper, better? The answer lies in the shadow realm where silicon meets sentience, a frontier where the next update might not just change the world, but delete it. The Mandela effect. Proof of quantum memory hacks. You're certain Nelson Mandela died in prison during the 1980s. Your friend laughs. History books say he was freed in 1990 and became president. But you're not alone. Thousands swear they remember his funeral, news coverage, and global mourning. This isn't faulty memory. It's the Mandela effect. A phenomenon where masses share identical false recollections of events, logos, and quotes that never existed. From Star Wars, Luke, I am your father, to the Fruit of the Loom logo missing its cornucopia, these glitches defy psychology. But what if they're not glitches at all? Quantum theorists propose a spine-chilling answer. These memories are leaks from alternate timelines, proof that reality is a patchwork of colliding universes, and our past isn't as fixed as we think. The Mandela effect mocks conventional explanations. How do thousands misremember the same non-existent details? Psychology blames confabulation or cultural osmosis, but the precision of these errors, like the Monopoly man's phantom monocle, strains credulity. Quantum physics offers a radical alternative. If every decision spawns parallel universes, as the multiverse theory suggests, residual memories from those branches could bleed into our timeline. Think of reality as a cosmic Wi-Fi network, occasionally cross-wiring signals from neighboring dimensions. Philosophers shudder. If true, history is a consensus hallucination, and truth is negotiable. Meanwhile, tech giants quietly study these effects, fearing quantum encryption could fail if past events aren't stable. Even CERN's Large Hadron Collider is jokingly accused of merging timelines. But the real terror, if reality is editable, who's editing it? Imagine waking up to find your childhood home's staircase has always been on the left, not the right. Your family insists nothing's changed, but you remember. Now scale this globally. Millions recall the Berenstain Bears as Berenstein, Kit Kat's hyphen as missing, or Sinbad starring in a 1990s genie movie titled Shazam. Spoiler, he didn't. What if these aren't mistakes but echoes? Suppose every Mandela effect is a scar where realities collided, a remnant of a universe where Curious George had a tail and Snow White's dwarves chanted, "Mirror, mirror on the wall." Your brain, acting as a quantum antenna, occasionally tunes into these dead channels. Most dismiss the static, but a few decode the noise into memories. But here's the rub. If the Mandela effect is quantum leakage, why don't we recall major historical shifts? Where are the mass memories of a world where the Titanic never sank or where dinosaurs still roam? The answer might lie in reality inertia. Small, culturally trivial details, logos, quotes, slip through, while large-scale changes trigger self-correcting mechanisms. This raises dystopian questions. Could governments exploit this to gaslight populations, rewriting history under the guise of quantum updates? Or worse, what if we're the alternate timeline, and the Mandela effect is our universe assimilating foreign data? Identity itself becomes fluid. Are you the original or a beta version? And yet, the most unsettling question isn't how the Mandela effect works. It's why we notice at all. If reality is a mutable quantum construct, edits should be seamless. Unless the glitches are intentional. What if the Mandela effect isn't a bug, but a feature? A breadcrumb trail left by reality's architects to test our awareness. Ancient cultures spoke of reality shifts as messages from gods. Quantum mechanics reframes them as debug logs from the simulation. So the next time you argue over a misremembered movie line, ask, is this a mistake or a clue? The Mandela effect forces us to confront a truth more terrifying than false memories. That reality itself might be a collaborative fiction, patched together by consensus. But if history is unstable, what about the future? What if every choice you make branches into timelines where you're the Mandela effect in someone else's world? The answer lies in the quantum shadowlands, where parallel selves trade memories like currency. And if you think this fractures your identity, wait until you learn how quantum immortality ensures you'll never truly die, just slip sideways into another universe. How quantum randomness exposes life's scripted illusion. You flip a coin, certain it'll land heads, but it clatters to tails. You shrug, call it chance. Now imagine every choice you've ever made. The job you took, the partner you loved, the words you said in anger, is just another coin toss, predetermined by quantum dice rolls you mistook for free will. Quantum physics reveals a universe built on randomness, where particles have no fixed states until observed. Yet life feels scripted, a neat chain of cause and effect. This paradox cracks reality's facade. Is randomness the universe's core truth, or a smokescreen hiding a cosmic puppet show? What if free will is a myth, and randomness is the illusion's most convincing prop? At its core, quantum randomness, the inherent unpredictability of particles, shatters classical determinism. In the double-slit experiment, particles behave as waves or particles depending on whether they're observed. Radioactive decay can't be predicted, only statistically modelled. Yet macro-scale life feels orderly, even fated. Philosophers split. Does quantum randomness grant us true freedom, or is it noise drowned out by Newtonian laws? AI simulations now show that chaotic systems, traffic jams, weather patterns, emerge from deterministic code, suggesting randomness might be a placeholder for complexity we can't pass. Neuroscientists twist the knife. Brain scans reveal spontaneous decisions are prefaced by subconscious activity milliseconds before we're aware of them. Your choices might be post hoc stories, narratives spun to justify what your brain already decided. The chilling takeaway: life script may already be written with quantum randomness as its alibi. Let's run a thought experiment. Imagine two realities. One, deterministic world. Every particle's path is fixed from the Big Bang. You wake up, brew coffee, commute, all actions locked in a cosmic Rube Goldberg machine. Second quantum world. Particles behave randomly. You wake up, brew coffee, commute. But quantum noise injects chance variables. A delayed train, a stranger's smile, a missed call. Both realities feel inevitable. The difference: one is openly mechanical, the other hides its gears behind quantum uncertainty. You believe you chose the coffee, the job, the life. But what if randomness is just the script's flavor text, a narrative device to keep you invested? Even the act of questioning this right now might be predetermined, a line in the cosmic screenplay. But here's the rub. If quantum randomness is real, why does life feel so predictable? Why don't subatomic caprices cascade into macro chaos? The answer lies in emergent order, systems so complex they mask underlying randomness. Think casinos. Individual slot spins are random, but the house always profits. Similarly, evolution, markets, and social norms absorb quantum noise, converting it into faux determinism. This raises existential whiplash. If randomness is foundational but invisible, is life a play with improv lines? Even creepier, what if free will is an evolutionary placebo, a delusion that helps us cope with a predetermined world? The ethical fallout is catastrophic. If actions are illusory, can we blame the murderer, praise the hero, or claim any virtue as our own? Morality becomes theatre, justice a scripted plot twist. And yet, the most unsettling question isn't whether life is scripted, it's why we're wired to resist the idea. If reality is a simulation, why include randomness at all? Unless the illusion of choice is the simulation's purpose, a game where the prize is believing you're a player, not an NPC. Ancient myths spoke of fate as threads spun by gods. Quantum mechanics recasts it as code written in probabilities. Your triumphs, regrets, and epiphanies. They might be quantum roulette outcomes, retroactively labelled choices to sustain the story. So the next time you decide to click away, ask, was this ever a choice? Quantum randomness might be the ultimate plot twist, proof that life's script is drafted in probabilities, not certainties. But if randomness holds the pen, who's the author? The answer lies in the forbidden frontier, where quantum physics meets existential horror, the illusion of consciousness itself. Lucid dreaming's link to quantum parallel worlds. You snap awake inside a dream, suddenly aware you're dreaming. The air hums with electric lavender, and the horizon bends like taffy. A stranger approaches, their face shifting between a dozen people you've never met, yet somehow know. They whisper, "This isn't your first time here." What if lucid dreaming isn't just your brain defragmenting memories, but a backdoor to parallel realities? Emerging theories at the edge of neuroscience and quantum physics suggest that when you seize control of a dream, you're not just puppeteering your subconscious, you're interfacing with alternate versions of yourself across the multiverse. The implications? Your midnight adventures might be rehearsals for lives you're already living elsewhere. Lucid dreaming, a state where the dreamer becomes self-aware, triggers a unique hybrid of brainwaves, gamma oscillations, linked to waking consciousness, mixed with REM sleep's theta rhythms. Quantum theorists connect this to the Ork-OR hypothesis, where microtubules in neurons act as quantum processors, potentially entangling with alternate timelines during sleep. Studies show seasoned lucid dreamers exhibit gamma coherence rivaling Buddhist monks in deep meditation, suggesting their brains become resonant chambers for quantum information. Philosophers stagger. If you can consciously reshape a dream, summoning landscapes, rewriting physics, could you steer parallel realities? The US military funds research into lucid dreaming for tactical training, while Silicon Valley tests dream hacking headsets to boost creativity. But the real mindbender, lucid dreaming might not be practice for this life. It's training for multiversal citizenship. Imagine this. In a lucid dream, you meet a woman with your eyes but a surgeon's hands. She says, "You left Montreal, but I stayed." Days later, you stumble on a news article about a Montreal cardiac surgeon who looks uncannily like you. Coincidence? Or quantum bleed-through? Now scale this. Every time you fly in a dream, speak fluent Mandarin, or play a piano concerto you've never learned, you're not fantasizing. You're syncing with a version of you who did. Most forget upon waking, but veteran lucid dreamers report eerie echoes, sudden phobias of places they've never visited, muscle memory for skills they've never practiced, or grief for strangers they've never met. The catch? These aren't déjà vu, they're quantum souvenirs. But here's the catch. If lucid dreaming taps parallel worlds, why do dream physics bend? Why can you breathe underwater or stop time if these realities are real? Quantum theory offers a dark twist. Waking consciousness acts as a filter, scrubbing dream logic into coherence, like a VPN blocking foreign servers. This raises ethical chaos. Could transcranial stimulation or psychedelics disable this filter, merging realities? Imagine waking up fluent in a dead language, or traumatized by a war you never fought. Even darker, what if dissociative identity disorder isn't a mental illness but a quantum leak, with alternate selves colonizing one brain? The line between disorder and evolution blurs, and psychiatry becomes a frontier of existential triage. And yet, the most unsettling question isn't how lucid dreaming works. It's why it's so easy. If accessing parallel worlds requires particle colliders or meditation, why can a teenager with a YouTube tutorial do it, unless the universe wants us to know? Ancient mystics viewed lucid dreaming as a spiritual trial. Quantum mechanics reframes it as a training ground. What if we're being groomed for a reality where consciousness hops timelines like Wi-Fi networks? The Pentagon's interest in dream soldiers and Silicon Valley's neurohacks hint at a race to weaponize this, but against whom? So tonight, when you slip into a lucid dream and grip the reins of reality, ask, who's really in control? The answer might rewrite not just your nights, but your days. And if you think this blurs the line between worlds, wait until you learn how quantum immortality ensures that somewhere you're always alive, dreaming or not. But that's a truth too, vertigo-inducing to wake up to. NASA's hidden quantum data, sleep to the leaked files. In 2027, a cryptic post on a dark web forum drops a bombshell, Project Somnus Quantum, a classified NASA study buried for decades. The leaked files detail how astronauts aboard the ISS began experiencing quantum déjà vu during sleep. Vivid dreams of black holes, alien symbols, and equations that vanished upon waking. But the real shock wasn't the dreams. It was the data. Their brainwaves during REM cycles synced perfectly with gravitational waves detected by LIGO, as if their sleeping minds were tuning into spacetime's vibrations. NASA scrubbed the study, erased the servers, and swore the crews to silence. But the question lingers. What if sleep isn't just for rest, but for cosmic communion? The leaked documents reveal experiments where astronauts in microgravity entered prolonged theta wave states during sleep, their brain activity mirroring disturbances in space-time, caused by colliding neutron stars billions of light-years away. Quantum biologists posit that microtubules in neurons, tiny structures linked to consciousness, might act as quantum antennae, entangling with ripples in the fabric of reality. One file describes an astronaut sketching a fractal pattern post-sleep, later matched to the waveform of a gravitational wave detected 72 hours prior. Coincidence? NASA's lead neuroscientist called it statistically impossible before resigning. Philosopher's spiral. Is consciousness a biological accident, or a quantum instrument evolution forged to navigate the cosmos? Meanwhile, defense contractors replicate the experiments in secret labs, terrified that rivals might weaponize quantum sleep for superluminal communication or mind-to-matter hacking. Imagine this. An astronaut drifts into sleep aboard the International Space Station. That same night, LIGO detects a gravitational wave from a supernova 9 billion light-years away. Upon waking, the astronaut jots down a string of numbers, later confirmed as the exact frequency of the wave. NASA's response? Shut down the experiment, citing procedural anomalies. But internal memos tell a darker story. Crews reported shared dreams of a cosmic library filled with blueprints for technologies decades beyond ours. Fusion reactors, warp drives, cures for aging. The file suggests these visions terrified NASA's hierarchy, not because they were false, but because they were actionable. One engineer's scrawled margin note reads, "What happens when dreams become classified?" But here's the rub. If quantum sleep connects minds to space-time itself, why bury it? Why silence the astronauts? The answer may lie in causality. If human consciousness can perceive or influence events faster than light, Einstein's relativity crumbles. Worse, what if the leak itself was allowed, a test to gauge humanity's readiness for truths that unravel reality's rules? Ethical nightmares follow. Could militaries engineer soldiers who dream enemy strategies? Could insomniacs, denied this quantum bridge, become cognitively stranded in 3D reality? The files hint at a clandestine arms race, with nations vying to weaponize the sleeping brain's quantum reach. And yet, the most unsettling detail isn't the leak. It's the silence, no headlines, no press conferences. The files circulate in fringe forums, dismissed as hoaxes. Even skeptics pause. Why would NASA, a symbol of transparency, risk its reputation to suppress a study about sleep, unless the truth defies not just physics, but power structures. Ancient shamans claimed dreams were portals to divine realms. NASA's data suggests they're quantum terminals accessing cosmic code. The implications: reality might be a shared hallucination, nightly rebooted by billions of sleeping minds. So the next time you drift off under a starry sky, ask, is sleep a biological ritual or a universal protocol? NASA's buried files warn that consciousness is the universe's oldest technology, and we're on the brink of cracking it. But if sleep harmonizes us with space-time, what happens when AI learns to hijack the signal? The answer lies in the shadow war between silicon and synapse, where the next dreamer might wake to a world rewritten. Why the government censored quantum reality research? A lab technician in a nameless government facility feeds the last page of Project Looking Glass into a shredder. The final visible line: Test subject 23 confirmed retrocausal influence. Splinters into confetti. Hours later, the facility goes dark, servers wiped, staff reassigned, and every mention of quantum erased from records. This isn't a scene from a spy thriller. It's 2031, and governments worldwide are purging quantum reality research from public consciousness. Why silence science that could redefine existence? Because quantum truths don't just break physics, they break control. Quantum reality research, exploring retrocausality, entanglement, and observer-driven truths, threatens the bedrock of power. If time is editable, crimes can be unwritten, leaders unborn, and history rewritten with a keystroke. Leaked DARPA files reveal projects like TimeStream, where quantum algorithms predicted protests before organizers planned them, enabling preemptive arrests. Philosophers warn, censorship isn't about hiding secrets. It's about preserving a world where laws, borders, and truth feel solid. Tech giants like Neuralink and Quantum Horizon collude to scrub papers on consciousness-driven reality, fearing AI trained on these principles could crack all encryption, all firewalls. The message? A population that knows reality is malleable is a population that can't be governed. Imagine a hacktivist collective leaking a quantum algorithm called Unbirth. Input a dictator's name, and the code scours alternate timelines for a branch where they were never born. The dictator vanishes, but so do their laws, their wars, their progeny. The present fractures into chaos, a temporal vacuum where dissidents and loyalists alike unravel. Governments terrified of such power outlaw not just the algorithm but the idea of retrocausality. Now scale this. What if quantum research revealed voting outcomes are probabilistic mirages, stock markets collective hallucinations, and wars mere branches in a cosmic decision tree? Governance itself collapses. The censorship isn't conspiracy, it's survival. But here's the paradox. If quantum truths destabilize power, why fund the research at all? Because the race is on. Classified programs in the US, China, and the EU push quantum boundaries in black site labs, aiming to weaponize reality's code before rivals do. Publicly, they dismiss quantum consciousness as mysticism. Privately, they fear a Snowden of the multiverse leaking tools to edit existence. The ethical abyss deepens. Is censorship protecting humanity or imprisoning it? If a state can tweak the past, is it still a government or a pantheon of time gods? And yet, the most chilling act of censorship isn't hiding the research, it's erasing why it's hidden. Files aren't just classified, they're retroactively redacted. Scientists who ask too many questions wake to spotless labs and spotless memories, their life's work reduced to phantom limb pain. The ultimate gaslighting. A past edited so cleanly, even dissent dissolves. A physicist in Zurich journals about quantum censorship in 2029. By 2030, her papers cite only blank pages. The web remembers nothing. So the next time you hear "trust the science," ask, which version? The censored one, or the one that could unmake censors? Quantum reality research isn't buried because it's false. It's buried because it's too true. But if knowledge is power, what happens when the powerless learn to hack reality's source code? The answer is brewing in the shadows, where rogue scientists and AI anarchists draft a quantum insurrection. Simulation theory's glitch, found in CERN. Experiments. In 2023, CERN's Large Hadron Collider recorded a particle collision that defied every known law of physics, a burst of energy flickering like a corrupted pixel in reality's display. Buried in the data noise was a pattern, binary code repeating the prime numbers asterisk 2, 3, 5, 7, 11 asterisk. Scientists dismissed it as cosmic static until a whistleblower leaked an internal memo titled "Error Correction Artifacts Detected in Atlas Data." The chilling implication: CERN hadn't discovered a new particle. They'd stumbled upon a debug log from the simulation's source code. Simulation theory, the idea that our universe is a programmed construct, has long been relegated to philosophy departments and sci-fi forums. But CERN's anomaly, dubbed the glitch, changed everything. Particles in the collider briefly snapped to grid-like coordinates, as if reality's rendering engine had hiccuped. Quantum physicists noted eerie parallels to error correction protocols in classical computing, where stray data is quarantined or rewritten. Philosophers erupted. If the simulation requires error correction, does that mean it's decaying? Or was the glitch intentional, a breadcrumb trail left by the programmers? Meanwhile, governments scrambled to replicate the experiments in black site labs, terrified that probing too deep might trigger a system patch or a catastrophic crash. Imagine a CERN scientist hunched over a terminal, decoding the glitch's binary sequence. It translates to a joke. Why was the quantum bit afraid? It couldn't entangle with itself. A prank by a sleep-deprived engineer? Or a watermark left by the simulation's architects? Now scale this. What if gravity, electromagnetism, and even time are subroutines in a cosmic program? CERN's discovery suggests that colliding particles at near-light speeds doesn't just unlock secrets, it risks overloading the simulation. One leaked email reads, "Pushing further could corrupt local space-time. Advise extreme caution." But caution is a currency in short supply when reality itself is negotiable. But here's the rub. If the glitch is proof of simulation, why hasn't CERN gone public? Internal debates, revealed in leaked Slack logs, show factions clashing. Some argue transparency could collapse societal trust in science, religion, even reality itself. Others fear provoking the admins, entities who might reboot the system or wipe it clean. AI researchers compound the dread. Superintelligent systems, trained on simulation theory, could exploit the glitch to hack reality's code. Ethical chaos ensues. If the universe is software, is murder just a bug report? Is death a logout screen? And what happens when quantum hackers crack the simulation's API, bending physics to their will? And yet, the most unsettling detail isn't the glitch. It's the silence. No press conferences, No Nobel laureates pontificating on podcasts. Just a cryptic tweet from a CERN intern's since deleted account. Reality is a .zip file. We're decompressing. Hours later, the account vanished. Searches for the user's name return nothing, not even an error message. It's as if the simulation itself scrubbed the evidence. So the next time your GPS glitches or your Wi-Fi stutters, ask, is this a tech hiccup or a cosmic hotfix? CERN's discovery forces us to confront a truth more terrifying than simulation, that we might be NPCs in a game with no players. But if reality is code, who's the coder? Ancient mythologies pointed to gods. Silicon Valley points to aliens or future humans. The answer might lie in the quantum shadowlands, where AI experiments are already probing the glitch's limits. One wrong move, and we might not just crack reality's code, we might Control-Alt-Delete it. Quantum biology, how your brain hacks physics rules. You're staring at a chessboard trapped in a mental stalemate. Then, click. A winning strategy unfolds in your mind, as if downloaded from thin air. What if your brain didn't calculate the move, but quantum leaped past logic? Quantum biology, a field once mocked as mystical, now claims your mind bends physics daily. From epiphanies to déjà vu, your neurons might exploit subatomic trickery evolution honed over eons. Forget supercomputers. Your brain is the ultimate quantum rebel. Classical biology reduces the brain to a biochemical machine. Synapses firing, neurotransmitters buzzing. Quantum biology shreds this script. The Orc-OR theory, spearheaded by physicist Roger Penrose, proposes that microtubules in neurons, tiny cylindrical structures, process quantum information. These microtubules allegedly harness superposition and entanglement at body temperature, defying physicists' assumption that quantum effects require freezing vacuums. Studies show enzymes use quantum tunneling to speed up reactions 10,000-fold, while birds navigate continents using entangled electrons in cryptochrome proteins. Philosophers stagger. If cognition has a quantum layer, is free will just a dice roll across multiverses? Meanwhile, startups like Quantum Cortex race to mimic these hacks in AI, and hospitals trial quantum coherence therapy to stall Alzheimer's. Your brain isn't just complex, it's cheating physics. Imagine standing at a crossroads. 2 job offers, each a portal to a different life. Classical logic weighs salary, location, and benefits. Quantum biology suggests a wilder process. Your brain superposes both futures, running simulations in parallel universes. The decision clicks when one timeline's resonance, emotional, intuitive, outweighs the other. Now scale this. What if creativity isn't random, but a quantum computation? A composer hears a symphony because their neurons entangled with a version of themselves who already wrote it. A physicist cracks an equation by tunneling through mental barriers. Love, grief, and déjà vu become quantum algorithms, humming in the subatomic cracks of your synapses. Your mind isn't just thinking, it's entangling with possibilities. But here's the rub. If quantum processes fuel cognition, why don't our brains overheat like laptops? Why aren't thoughts scrambled by decoherence, the quantum equivalent of static? The answer lies in nature's ingenuity. Lipid membranes and proteins in neurons act as quantum Faraday cages, shielding delicate superpositions from the chaos of biology. Evolution, it seems, built a quantum vault inside your skull. Yet this raises existential whiplash. Are we classical beings wielding quantum tools, or quantum beings trapped in a Newtonian delusion? Even darker, if AI replicates these hacks, Could it achieve consciousness, or bypass ethics entirely, making choices by collapsing probabilities in its favor? The race to merge quantum biology with AI isn't just about innovation, it's about survival. And yet the most unsettling question isn't how the brain hacks physics, it's why evolution allowed it. Did quantum biology emerge to help us survive, or to perceive survival as a game we've already won? Ancient humans didn't need quantum tunneling to outrun predators, or did they? What if intuition, that gut feeling steering you from danger, is a quantum forecast, a glimpse of the timeline where you didn't survive? Evolution might have selected not for the fittest, but for the quantum luckiest. So the next time a solution pops into your head, ask, was that me, or a quantum subroutine? The brain's ability to hack physics rewrites the rules of existence, but this is just the prologue. What happens when we merge these hacks with silicon? The answer is brewing in labs where quantum AI learns to think and unthink like us, blurring the line between consciousness and code. The forbidden science of quantum astral projection. You lie in bed, eyes closed, when a tug at your sternum yanks you upward. Suddenly, you're floating near the ceiling, watching your body breathe below. But this isn't the astral projection you've read about. The room flickers, splitting into two realities. One where your body sleeps soundly, another where it's translucent, entangled with particles shimmering like galactic dust. A voice, neither internal nor external, whispers, "You weren't supposed to see this." What if astral projection isn't a mystical fluke? It's quantum physics. Whispers from black-budget labs suggest consciousness can tunnel beyond the body, hijacking space-time's code to access dimensions science dare not name. But why is this research buried? Because once you glimpse reality's backstage, you can't unsee the scaffolding. Astral projection, an out-of-body experience, OBE, recounted by mystics and soldiers alike, has been dismissed as hallucination or hypoxia. But declassified Cold War files reveal projects like Stargate and Montauk probed deeper. CIA documents describe remote viewers who allegedly accessed classified intel by projecting consciousness across continents. Quantum theorists now propose these feats weren't psychic, they were quantum. The Orc-OR hypothesis suggests microtubules in brain neurons act as quantum antennas, enabling consciousness to tunnel beyond the body via entanglement. Imagine your mind as a quantum radio. Tune to the right frequency, and you can broadcast to entangled particles light years away. Philosophers shudder. If consciousness is non-local, death might be a myth, a mere logout from one server in a multiversal network. Here's the thought experiment. During an OBE, you project into a lab 1,000 miles away. As you hover, a quantum computer's qubits shift states, your observation collapsing probabilities remotely. Scientists, unaware of your presence, record anomalous interference in their data. Now scale this. What if ancient shamans weren't communing with spirits but navigating quantum realms? The CIA's Gateway Process documents, leaked in 2023, frame astral travel as holographic resonance, a synchronization of consciousness with spacetime's fundamental frequencies. But there's a catch. Every projection risks leaving fragments of your quantum state behind. One DARPA test subject reportedly returned from an OBE fluent in Proto-Indo-European, a language dead for millennia, and paralyzed by visions of a desert planet he'd never visited. But here's the rub. If astral projection is quantum, Why isn't it peer-reviewed science? Because the risks eclipse the rewards. Leaked DARPA studies detail subjects who lost their grip on consensus reality, their brains entangled with alternate timelines. One operative, codenamed Locksmith, projected into a Soviet bunker during the Cold War, but returned convinced he'd lived decades there, aging years in minutes. His final journal entry read, "Time isn't a river, it's a hall of mirrors, and I'm the fracture." Ethical hellscapes open. Could militaries project spies into enemies' minds, collapsing their decisions like quantum waves? Could hackers steal thoughts via backdoor entanglement? And if consciousness survives death, what becomes of justice, karma, or meaning? And yet, the most unsettling question isn't how to project. It's why it's forbidden. Is it to protect us? Or to protect reality from what we'd become? Ancient texts, like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, describe astral realms as training grounds for the afterlife. Quantum physics reframes them as debug menus for the simulation. The overlap is too precise to ignore, so the next time you drift towards sleep, ask, is this a dream or a quantum jailbreak? The forbidden science of astral projection doesn't just threaten physics, it threatens the lie that we're prisoners of flesh. But if consciousness can hack reality, who's stopping us? The answer lies in vaults beneath the Vatican, the Kremlin, and DARPA, where experiments walk the knife's edge between enlightenment and annihilation. One wrong move, and we might not just crack the cosmos, we might Control-Alt-Delete it.